Hello, and welcome to this little dev diary that I'm putting together. I'm Ramasee, and I'm the lead designer and project lead for Interbellum Private Server. And I'm going to be talking today about a couple, like where we currently are on the project, the last little thing that we posted for you guys, and some things you can expect in the near future, such as testing and stuff like that. Uh, First thing is, you guys know, on New Year's Eve, we posted the Greenskin versus Dwarf career builder that you can currently see on the screen here. Um, our art department is working on Greenskin and Dwarf assets, so I have pushed game design and lore masters into making sure that those classes are more polished than the others, and that will be part of our first component of testing. Um, Originally, I was going to go through each little part of this builder. However, Fixer TV did that the day after I posted the builder, and my community manager Void told me about it. So I actually sat there in his stream and answered his questions live. So I will, rather than making our own video describing of the things that were going on, I'm just going to give you guys the link to that because, like I said, I was there and I was answering the questions that he was asking to his viewers while he was going through it. Why redo work that someone else has already done? I'm kind of lazy. But I will go through a couple things that I remember that he did not go through, just to have that there. A good example, you're currently looking at the public version of the builder. We did take certain things off of it before we posted it because we don't own it. For example, this is the builder for the exact same page on our staff side, and we've got backsplash, we've got art backsplash. Because we don't own this art, we haven't posted it as part of the public thing, but eventually, not right now, but eventually we expect there to be splash art on the back of each builder or each mastery tree in game. Now, that is a requirement of art in order for us to have that art that's made by art department. And over time, we will include more people into our art department in order to make those. This builder that is sent to the community or to the staff members is more of a representation of what it should look like as an end product. All of these art pieces are taken from like Games Workshop stuff, which is why, like I said, we did not post it in the original. Also, you can see we do have all the other classes. We have only done Greenskin and Dwarf for public because everything we've done in public releases up to this point and for the future, for the foreseeable future, has been to prepare people for testing purposes, not necessarily to showcase elements of the game. So, because we are going to be focusing on Dwarf and Greenskin in those first few tests of Phase 3, that actually include people that are on the staff, we did Greenskin versus Dwarves, but I can show you that we do have similar concepts except without like icons for the other classes. Notice these say semi. Oh, because there's been some changes since they've been put on the builder, or because this builder does not match or does not auto update to what we put on our testing server. But let's see. There was something else related to this. This is all stream of consciousness. I hate editing videos, so I do everything in one cut through source files. Just by the way. Let's see. I think that's it for that part. Well, yeah. I'm going to use this opportunity to say that we are still looking for more lore masters because some of this work that they do, which is fantastic, can take a fair amount of their time. For example, like the Black Orc has a nice, prettier descriptions of their skills, same as like the Rune Scribe, right, where they've got the prettier descriptions of their skills that, for example, the Shroomancer does not have. The Shroomancer has my very flat, this is what it does, no lore added, because it just takes a minute for my lore. So we need more of those. I currently have 2 active lore masters and 1 inactive one, letting people know that I still need Interbellum still needs more lore masters to assist with this. The more I have, the more I can get things out to people in a more polished form. I don't like sending things out that say Tactic 5, Ability 1, stuff like that. I did for this purpose just because I said I'm trying to prepare people for testing. But we would like more lore masters to be able to get this stuff in order to catch up that department, that sub-department, to the rest of game design. We also need more game moderators. We would like to have actual staff of game moderators before we are getting to any amount of public testing. Because the more testing we do and the more videos we do, the more people we get on our Discord, and the more we may or may not need to do any kind of moderation for anything that is just, a little bit extreme. On that regard, though, funnily enough, we have not actually had to hard moderate for the last 6 weeks based off of the documentation, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to applaud our community on that, that people have learned what kind of expectations they can, what for communicating on our public platforms. So congratulations to you guys for not having any one of my moderators have to do anything for 6 months or 6 weeks. So let's let you know, in addition to the builder that's going on, let me get that nice image up so I can block it. This is a picture, well, not really a picture, this is our database. I currently have some of it hid because my developers would like me to not have you guys see the full database. But this is where all of the ability work gets posted into. As you can see, a fair amount of it is actually already built. We've got 1,038 rows currently going, and this is what I've been working on. Myself, I do most of the ability creation using the code that development has given me and the designs that I have designed alongside Balance Team. The last couple weeks was Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that jazz, and so a lot of that got restricted. I also had to do some of that builder work in order to get the lore masters caught up, and of course give it to you guys in the public. All this stuff this is going to be resumed literally right after I'm done with this video. I'm going back to work for this kind of stuff. My developers are currently working on a launcher, and the reason the launcher is necessary because we have been launching with a batch file. So basically, you click this and it loads up Warhammer and connects you into our Interbellum server. We don't want that for our testing, right? We want an actual launcher. But once the launcher is up, once I've got the launcher, that's when we're going to open up tester applications, right? So, because that's when I can start actually putting more testers on the server without having them to go through extra steps in order to log in. They just basically make an account and hit log in, right? And that's what we would like. So that's what development staff is currently, at least one of the development staff is currently working on. Like I said, once I get that, that's when we're going to do open applications for testers. And just to give people an idea of the kinds of things that you can expect that you'll be required to do for that. When I open up the testing application, it's going to basically ask you 4 things. And you put that application in, and then the staff will look over it to see who we want for different phases of testing. This is because the initial phases of testing aren't going to be just like, hey, the server's open, come and play. It's going to be like kind of focused on, hey, how does this feel? Is there any bugs related to these components right here? It will still be, put under the guise of like, fighting other players. It'll still be like PvP, but like we need that feedback. So, what testing what the application is going to look like. It's going to ask you your motivation for testing, why you're wanting to test. It's going to ask you what kinds of classes that you liked playing on Age of Reckoning and Return of Reckoning. or what you might want to play from what you've seen on Interbellum, like your focus going into the game, whether you like PvP, PvE, that kind of stuff, whether you're a healer or a tank kind of player. To give you a good example of that, I am primarily a healer. I've been one since 1999. But I've over the last couple years, have swapped over to playing more frontline oriented characters ever since like Atlas Reactor and Elder Scrolls Online and Paladins and Overwatch. I actually now play a lot more frontline characters, but I still have that like tendency towards healers, and we would want to know that as well. The last two are more important than those, and that would be we're going to tell you about a bug and have you write a bug report to us, because we want to know how good you are at writing a bug report and proving it, right? And the last one is that we want you to write for us a balance proposal. And the reason that we want those last two is we want to see how good you are at providing written feedback. Because, like I said, especially those first few stages of testing, we are going to really need that feedback so that we're getting things from a perspective that's outside of the staff and people who have been handling it for a while. People who are seeing it for the first time and giving us that player feedback. And that's very important, so that by the time that we get to open testing, where we invite a whole bunch of people in before we do the server reset, we actually get good player feel. I can't really think of a word for it now. Basically, we want that experience to be good for people when they get to open beta, so that we have a good launch. And also, we want to be able to get past all of the major balance issues. I mean, we expect there still will be some after launch. Duh. We're not, out of our minds. But we want to get past the really major things before we get into it. And we definitely want to make sure each class feels good to play to at least a good chunk of people. We don't expect all 24 classes and all 72 hard specializations to be fun to everybody, but they all should be fun to a fair number of people, right? And that is where we are currently at, and what our next couple stages are being. Interbellum policy is that we don't normally give ETAs. I can tell you that this person does not normally joke, but it's going to sound like a joke. I was told that I will get that launcher within 2 weeks. So like I said, when I get the launcher, that's when you guys get the application process opened up, and then all it takes is a couple database touches, and then we will start doing testing, phase 3 testing, invite only, to begin. And that's where Interbellum currently is, and that's this little dev diary in the 5th of January 2024. I don't have any plans for ending this video, so goodbye.